Okay, so again, we will go to the second part of our session where we will be focusing first on the two prerequisite. We are done with the first one last time, which is session one. And then this is the second prerequisite that we need to practice. By the way, for the assessment, I believe it was not saved from the last time that I created it. So that's the reason why it's not there. But the questions are still with me. So probably what will I do is I'm going to recreate it by just copy and pasting the questions over the assessment. And you might be answering the assessment on your own time for next week. All right. So we start with the first link that we have here in our Google Colab for our session two. So the answers is restricted as of the moment, but will be shown to you later at the end of our class. Okay. Good. So I will be introducing to you the first. I hope you all can see the Python Pandas notebook that I have shared. Is it shared properly? I believe so. Yeah. So I think before we start, I want you to be with me on the same page. Could you open the notebooks from our Leons? If you did not, you can't locate it for the meantime, I'm going to post this one to our chat. Okay. But it is already here on our session two, number three, session two of our Leon account. All right. So today we will be working more of the pandas library. Okay. So the first cell, as you can see here, this is uh, it is written there, import pandas as PD. So this is the library for us to load data frames. Basically, data frames, I can relate this one with Microsoft Excel. Data frames are matrices. They are like spreadsheets that are created in Python. So these data frames that we're going to use later, this is where our data will be stored, and this is where our data will be transformed and cleaned. All right. Okay, so the files are also located in this link that I'm going to copy and then going to paste in our chat box. All right, over here. So on the Google Drive, I'm going to click on it, and then we will be presented with the different data sets that we will be using here in our Google Colab. So I believe what we're going to use right now today is the cities.csv, countries.csv, players.csv, teams.csv, and titanic.csv. I suggest that you download all of this one all at once, something like this. So you just click the download part here, or over here, you can download all at once. Okay, so I need to select everything. Select everything. Like probably like this one, and then download. Okay, so we'll be downloading all of the files that we need because we're going to upload it over here on our files at the left part of our Google Colab. So we're going to upload all of the data set here first before we use it in our Colab. Okay, so let me just extract the values, the data sets from this one. Extract all. So let me just extract everything. Okay, files CSVs. Okay, so now I'm going to upload. You can also follow what I'm doing. So I'll be uploading. Sorry, I uploaded the wrong file. Let me just delete that first. Uploading. I will be uploading the CTs. Let me just do it one by one. Players, teams, countries. And what else? Cities, countries, players, teams. Okay, I think that's everything that we need. Titanic later. We'll probably be doing that later. Let me just. Oh, just my computer. Give me just a little bit. Okay. All right. What else? What else do we need to do? Okay. My question is, were you able to download the CSV files and also be able to upload all of the CSV files, or what we can say the data sets that we need over our Google Colab? Press 1 if you're done with it.
Not yet, sir.
Okay, please. By the way, are you seeing what I am showing on my screen? Can you
Yes,
see?
sir.
All right. Okay, so I assert you are also copying what I'm doing here in my screen. So as you can see, I have uploaded all of the CSV files, cities, countries, players, teams, hoping that you will all do the same because that's what we're going to use later. As we run through all of these cells across until we reach the last part. So we have a lot of things so going to do right this afternoon. So Alex is done, I assume. Joglin, tama ba? Joglin.
Jojo na lang po.
Joglin. Okay. Jojo. Tricia, done. John is also done with this. Michelle. All right. Where's the share? Sure. We can go live on YouTube, by the way. Can we do that? I will do that next time. So pagkatapos of our meeting, so we are done with our meeting, the recording will be also done with it. So we are 8 here in the class, or probably 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. By the way, some of you are asking for the certificate of completion. So the certificate of completion will be given if you are done with all of the tasks that I've given, especially the last part, the medium article. As I have shown you an example of the final requirement that my student presented from our last meeting last June, that's June 3, the 3rd of June. So they presented their project last June 3, probably June 3. June 3 ba yun? I mean, June 10 pala. They presented their project June 10 and also their medium requirement, the medium article requirement. And if you can't submit it, that's one of the requirements. So be able to submit that at the 10th session. So don't worry, we're just on our second session. So hindi pa natin yun kailangan intindihin as of the moment. All right. I assume everybody's done with theirs. So let us run first here on our first cell. The first cell says import pandas as PD. Okay, so this first line of code is trying to import all of the libraries associated with the data frames called pandas. Okay, so it is changed to be PD. So for us to type it as fast as we can. So instead of the whole word pandas, we will be able to use it just 2 letters PD. So that's the reason why we did that. So let me run the cell. You can also run the cell by putting your mouse pointer on the cell and seeing the indentation, the indentation, and then pressing Control Shift Enter or Shift Enter to run the cell. So now you proceed to the next cell. So this one is, we can actually skip these 2 parts because this is the code for the older version of what we are doing right now. But the one that we're going to use now is this third line, reading from CSV file into the data frame. Okay, so we already uploaded all the CSV files in our data storage. This is called, anong tawag dito? Files, all right. Okay, or on our session storage. So we are going to open it, cities.csv, and will be on the variable f. And then we will activate our pandas pd.read over a file. So we're going to read a file that is a CSV format. It should not be a XLS format or Excel format. It should be a CSV format. Now, all of the data will be placed in the variable cities. So let's try to run the cell and let's observe what will happen to the variable called cities. Okay, let's run cities, and then there you go. All of the data that is in our cities will be placed on our data frame. Again, the data frame acts as, okay, so a data frame is a data structure in a field of data analysis and manipulation, commonly used in programming languages like Python. Dimensional tabular data structure with label rows and columns. Or in simple saying, this is like an Excel, but without looking at the interface of Excel. So programmatically, we're going to manipulate the data. It's not drag, and we're not going to use our mouse. That's just the difference between using Excel and Pandas. All right. So practically, Python is not can be compared to Excel, but data frames are the ones that can be compared to Excel. So a data frame is a tabular format, which you can see in front of your screen right now. So we have, how many columns do we have here? We have 5 columns. We have cities, city, country, latitude, longitude, and temperature. So as you can see on the data, we have here a kind of data called, we can call this one textual data. And this is what we call a numerical data, where it has a real number. Okay. So real numbers composed of integers or floating point numbers. Okay. So these are enumerated values in a string format. Okay, so that's another kind of data. Okay, so we can call this cannot be considered uh or can we say that this is considered categorical in nature or typical in nature? And the other one is called numerical. So dalawa siya, categorical or numerical. So as you can see, we have 2 categorical here. We have city and country. And then we have 3 numerical columns. We have latitude, longitude, temperature. So this is how we identify our data. Then we want to know the length of our data frame. So we perform a function called len, and then we place inside as an argument, we place inside cities. So this is cities that we have populated with the CSV data set that we have. Now it has the data with 213 rows. Okay. So that's how you know how many rows you have on your data frame. You just use the function len over 2 enclosed braces, or call this one natin dito. We can call this one open and close parentheses. Yeah, parentheses. So we have another function. This is head. This is like picking on your data. So this is not going to show you all of the contents of your data, but only showing the first 5 rows of your data. Though it's going to show us all of the columns, but only the first 5 rows, starting with index 0. As you can see on the left side, there's an index number, 0, 1, 2, 3, and up to 4. But if you will count them, there are 5 items or 5 rows, as you can see there on our data frame. So this is a technique called picking. You're just going to pick on the first 5. So essentially, this is happening on the first part of the data frame. How about the second one, which is tail? This is another picking function, just looking at your data as quick as possible without loading the whole data set. This happens because you don't want to load all of the data at once. And just to have a glance at the prefix of the data set or the suffix of the data set. So tail tries to get the last part of your data set. So the last 5 rows on your data set. So as you can see on the indices, we have 208, 209, 210, 2111, 212, because our last value is 213, but it was not given here because the indices starts with 0. So again, we are presented with 5 columns: city, country, latitude, longitude, temperature, with 5 the list 5 rows of our data set. All right. So that's the first three functions that we are able to use in our pandas. So please remember that. So first, if you want to look at your full data set, you just type there the name of your data frame. And then in our case, our cities data frame is called cities. And if you type it there and play the cell, you get actually the summary with an ellipsis of the other particular parts. All right. So we have their cities, lens cities, head, and tail. Okay, probably on the assessment, you will be asked there, what is the function to know the last 5 rows of a data set, and you should be able to choose tail. Okay, so this is the logic of our library pandas. So the reason why Python is a go-to language for big data, it's because Excel cannot handle uh, large amounts of data. That's why we're going to shift. We're going to shift to, it's either you're going to Power BI or you're going to Python. But if you're going to ask me if you're going to be full data scientist, your are missiles or your weapons for data science tasks, arsenals rather, are like you should be choosing Python. Okay, because uh, this should be a requirement, not an option for data scientists. Unless there is another new programming language that will overtake Python, we can deviate from this programming language. All right. So first and foremost, I would like to teach you how the structure of pandas to select how the structure of pandas works. So this first cell, this is uh, getting or selecting data column wise. Column wise. So as you can see here, cities, okay, denoted by double brackets. This means we're going to select a column. Okay, let me type there the meaning of this function. So to be able, to be able to select a column, I can say column wise data. The the function should be data frame and then open and close double bracket. So that's how you select your columns. So in this one, we have 5, right? So we have 5. And what we did here is we just selected country, latitude, and longitude. That's the reason why we are we are presented with country, latitude, and longitude. And what we did here is we placed to a new variable only the 3 columns. Okay. So what I did here is just like, if you can imagine, okay, so I believe you are all experts in Excel. Is that right? Expert ba lahat sa Excel dito? Press 1 if you are an expert in Excel. 312. 331. Wala pa? No one? Okay. So Andrew is expert Excel. Kahit maybe you are thinking, expert ba ako sa Excel? Maybe expert ka na if you know how to use columns and rows in Excel. I can say that you're already an expert if you can do that. So what I'm doing here in this one is if I'm going to open an Excel file, let me just load. Ano to? Keep file. Kahit malicious file yan, i-keep natin kasi we are not sure with that if that's malicious or not. So open. Let me just open in a different window, by the way. May obnoxious file name ako dun. So, browse, downloads, files, CSV files. Oh, ba't wala dito yung CSV files? All files. Okay, let me open what cities. Okay. So I will demonstrate to you what happens if I do this function. So what I'm doing there is I'm getting 3 columns, country, longitude, and latitude. So what I'm doing there is I'm going to copy country, latitude, longitude. There you go. I just copied all of those 213 rows of data. Okay, 213 of rows of data. Column wise. Okay, so I copied it. Okay, copy and then created here attempt and then pasted it there. So that is what I am doing on the code. I'm getting a piece of the data set column wise and then placing it to a new spreadsheet or data frame called temp. Okay. So that's what I'm doing there. Okay. So let's have more practices. Okay. So what if we have cities and I only wanted to show country. So let me play this one. So I'm going to see only country, right? Country, of course, and also city. Okay. So that's how I get the data column wise. Okay. Okay. Any questions with that? Any
None so
question?
far, sir.
None for me.
Okay. I think that's clear for everyone. Okay, a minute. Give me a minute. All right, so we go to the next one. Okay, we go to the next one. This one is cities that sort values country temperature ascending. True. So let's play this cell. What we did there is we sort our whole data set with the column country. That's the reason why Albania got there first. Okay. And the city of Albania is Elbasan with a latitude of 41.12, 20.08, 15.18 for the temperature. Okay. So what if we have here true? Okay, so it will first follow the country over temperature. So this will only be going to sort the latitude if and only if there's a duplication of country and city. Okay, so without duplication, temperature uh, will not be relevant. All right. So you just need to specify that as false for our compiler. Okay. So cities, we sort it by country. What if we want to sort it by city? So we're going to replace this one with city and then play. So we got there city. How about removing temperature? Something like this. Okay, still works. City, latitude, latitude.
So question, sir.
Hmm?
So every time, sir, na mag-i-specify kami ng columns, it is required na magkaroon ng sorting for all the columns, sir, na we specified.
I would suggest sorting will go with when you are trying to plot the data na.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that that would make your data when you graph it or plot it more readable. So that is important when you are plotting the data na. So if you're done with extracting the data, you need to sort it out, especially when you're going to use bar charts. So that's the importance of sorting. So in Excel, what I did there is just parang yung ginagawa natin sa Excel, what we're doing in Excel is actually what we should be doing also in Python. So we're just transferring our tool. Instead of Excel, we use Python. The reason is that there's a limitation when it comes with automation with Excel. You are limited to just a number of data, yun yung mga limitations. That's why Excel is I can say, the most relative tool. If you are a career shifter in the field of IT, I can say that the only way or the easiest way to go inside the IT industry is data analysis. So first start with Excel, and then when you're perfect with uh, getting your insights with Excel, you transfer with a higher level of tool, which is Python. And that's what we're learning right now. I'm just relaying it down so that you have a visualization of what we're doing. So in Excel, what we did is basically just sorting it out like this. So So instead of doing this manual labor in Excel, we can basically create a data frame in Python and do the same work in Google Colab. Yeah. Yan. So nag-sort tayo, no? So we can combine head and sort. Yung una nating natutunan, the first thing that we've learned, head and tail. We can combine it this with this selection of columns. At the same time, we can combine it with the sort one that we just recently understood. So let's have a new cell. Let us combine each and every one. So we can combine, we can use CTs. Sorry, where is that? Where is that? Okay, so we can have here CTs. So, lagyan lang natin ng mga code para medyo mag-enter yung pababa. CTs. And then, if you want, you can get the column CT. CT and then CT and just the head. Okay, let's show first what we've done there. So the first, what we did is we get all of the column CT from our data frame CTs, which we just want to show head or the first five. Okay. But what if we try to combine it with sort? So let me just copy this code. And then change this to CT. Can we combine them? Did something happen? Let me remove it again. Okay, so did not do anything on our data. So what we will need to do here is we need to place it on a temporary file first or temporary data frame. So we need to place it in a temp. Now on a temp, we can do the sort value. CT. It's ascending pala. Teka, what's the descending ano? Sorry, I'm thinking on my head the descending part. So let me just trace this one to false. Okay, so it became descending. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me just go back again kung gumagana ba yung straightforward na one-liner of code. Ay, sorry. Naka-temp. Temp. Okay, so it can be like this or it can be with a temp style. It's up to you. So what happened here is this we select a column, we select the whole column CT and show only the 5 rows while we sort the values in descending order. Okay, so descending order siya. All right. Any questions with that? Doubts, clarification? Hello?
Hello? Hello? Sir, saan yung basis ng descending order? Anong column? Ano yung basis? Paano naging descending order? Bakit nauna yung...
CT. Ito. CT.
Okay. And then, yung may numbers ba na pinag-basis? Yung basis ng numbers? Tama ba? CT.
Yung letter. Sa letter. Yung
So,
basis.
alphabeticalize. Tama ba?
Yes. Oh, parang ano siya, 'di ba? Pag sinabi
Okay.
nating ascending
Ah,
order A to Z, pag sinabi
mm,
nating sa descending order Z to A,
okay. Alright. Understood.
parang
Thank
vice
you.
versa lang.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yun. I understood what you're asking. Ang tinatanong mo yung parang pag sa numbers, highest to lowest, lowest to highest, 'di ba?
Yep. Yes.
So sa pag
Kala ko
sa
may ganun kasi may
pag sa
numbers.
letters naman, yung alphabet arrangement nila. So yung lowest yung A, considering that is the descending style part for the categorical values. So A to Z is the descending, and then Z to A is Z it is an ascending. The A to Z is the ascending, and the descending part is the Z to A, because somewhat we consider the Z as the highest. Parang ganun. So it also works with numerical values. So if I'm going to replace this one with temperature, so I'm going to replace it temperature. Okay, so the highest one, because it's false for the ascending. Para lang siyang switch, no? Ganun kasi si Python. So instead of, switch like 0 and 1, off and on, parang ganun, it's true or false. Ang ibig sabihin, our ascending attribute equals to false. So it's not false, it's not ascending, therefore it's descending. So if we change this one to true, it's ascending, therefore it's lowest to highest. Something like this. Okay. What if I try to interchange them? Would they still work? It has a different meaning now. I think, yeah. It had a different meaning. Parang, something somewhat. Let me go it back. Let me place that back again. Instead of, okay, so it included the signed numbers. Pag nilagay natin siya dito, okay, so the reason why it happened like that is parang sequential yung instruction natin dito. Una, kunin muna natin yung column na temperature. We get first the column temperature, then next we get the first 5 rows of that column. Now, we sort them. Pagka nilagay naman natin siya dito sa dulo, iba na yung meaning niya. We get the column, we sort them from lowest to highest, then we get only the first 5 rows of the sorted items. Did I make that clear? Did I make that clear for everyone? So I'm just simulating that scenario because you might be encountering the situation where you should know where to sort your data, where you want to place the sort. Is it on the middle part or on the last part? Because it changes in meaning. It changes the meaning of the data that we are getting. Something like this. So, ayun yung nangyari. Because negative value is the smallest of all of the column CT's temperature. Therefore, we get negative 2.20 instead of only getting 0 point something, just 0.20. Okay. Okay, so I think we're done with that. Next is, so this is what we, this pandas that we're learning right now is data manipulation. We need to be intermediate with this one in order for us to pursue other things on the next sessions. So importante itong yung mga din-discuss natin today. Ayan. Yung mga sort na yan. Sometimes may mga problems tayo, yung pala sort lang yung kailangan natin. So kaya kailangan, these are the fundamentals that we should be taking notes of. So okay, so there are different ways to summon the columns. We can use this style. However, this does not look fancy or does not look fancy, ganon. Hindi siya mukhang maganda, no? Using the point, using the dot structure. So you're going to return a series, not the data frame itself, but the actual values of the data frame. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think we can skip those. Next is condition in pandas. So this is now the condition where it's like a SQL query. So now, if you're going to incorporate conditions in our pandas query, I could also say like that, this is synonymous with SQL queries. So who are you here in our class who knows SQL? This is going to be very easy for you if you know the concept of SQL. Who has an experience with SQL? Press 2 para maiba naman yung chat natin. Ayan, Michelle and Alex. If you have an experience with Excel, this is going to be very easy for you because it has the same concept. Earlier, we selected the column, right? We get the columns. We extract the whole columns. That's synonymous with the SQL command select. So this open and close double bracket is just like a select statement in SQL. So what I am telling to each and every one of us is that if you want to be a data scientist, you should be able to learn how to do SQL also because that's the primitive way to extract data. Primitive. Primitive, bakit primitive? Because SQL is the programming language, a very old programming language, primitive. Kaya ako sinabing primitive, but it does not mean it's manual labor. It's still coding. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, pag ikaw ay data analyst, pupunta ka sa Excel, yan muna yung aralin mo. Then, afterwards, you're going to change higher level of data manipulation, which is SQL. However, this is primitive. It's just for extracting data. It has a limitation. Kaya ako sinabing primitive, hindi siya resilient. Hindi mo siya pwedeng gamitin sa higher level of analysis. Kasi pang-extract lang siya ng data just to get insights, just to extract data from a larger storage. Ang advantage lang ng SQL is larger storage. It's coming from a database. Okay, and SQL is a database programming language. A larger storage. Yun lang yung problema kasi kung kaya lang talaga ng Excel i-process ang malaking data, hindi na tayo mag-aaral ng lahat ng to. Mag-stick na lang tayo sa Excel. Now, if we're looking at automation and machine learning part of data science, dun talaga tayo gagamit ng Python. I am trying to make you realize that Python is very important in data science kasi it's going to automate your work and for machine learning. You cannot go to machine learning if you only know how to use Excel and SQL. Ano ang tawag sa'yo? Descriptive analytics ka. Yun lang yung nagagawa mo sa ngayon kapag ka Excel and SQL ka lang. So, what you should know is also Python for you to cross over to that boundary and do predictive analytics. Okay? So, when you know Python, you can perform automation and machine learning. Therefore, you can go to the next round, which is predictive analytics. All right? And also, good thing to learn Python is that you won't lose your descriptive analytics here. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo iiwanan yung Excel learnings mo at saka SQL learnings mo. You're just going to transform. You're just going to replace your tool. Instead of using Excel, SQL, you're going to use Python for all of the tasks. And one advantage of using Python is you're going to use one tool for everything. You might not go back to Excel. Hindi ka babalik sa Excel kapag sobrang galing mo na sa Python. Hindi ka na babalik sa Excel tsaka sa SQL. You can start descriptive analytics in Python already. Okay? Pero kung hindi ka pag ganun kagagaling sa Python, pwedeng pwede yung mixing or hybrid setup ka. You can do Excel, SQL, and then if you want to do machine learning, you go to Python. But eventually, you should learn how to manipulate your data with Python. So, that's the reason why, no? Na bakit ganun? Bakit may SQL akong sinasabi? Because dun nagsimula yun. Nire-relate ng Python yan para sa mga programmers ng SQL. Para yung mga programmers ng SQL, maengganyo silang mag-Python to manipulate the data instead of ayoko na mag-aral ng programming language because wala siyang kaparehas dito sa ginagawa ko ngayon. Parang ganun, no? Alright? So, the conditioning in Pandas. So, in order for you to do conditioning in Pandas is you need to write there the name of the data frame, which is, in our example, cities, and then place a open and close bracket. It's not double bracket, no? It's just single bracket. And then you repeat the data frame name, cities, dot longitude. Okay? So nanggaling yan dun sa ganito. Cities dot temperature, dyan siya nanggaling. That's the origin of that. And then all of the values of the column longitude which are less than 0 will be selected in our pandas query. So let's run the cell and see what will happen. Okay, so what we have here is that we get all of our data frame because we did not specify what column that we are going to select. So this is synonymous to select all, where select all from cities data frame where longitude is less than 0. So if we're going to look at the longitude, you will see there all of the values are below 0 or in a negative sign, or should be lower than 0. That's why there is negative 53. Okay, so there's negative values. Okay. So that's how you filter. So in Excel, what we did there is not sorting. In Excel, what we did there is filter. So in Excel, ang ginawa natin is, ano yun? What's that? Longitude. So longitude, and then we filter less than 0. Okay, so we get all of the data that is less than 0. Is that the same? Is that the same?
Yes, pero mas madali.
Pero mas madali, no? Wala nang mouse movements. Okay. Actually, nung may training ako dito before with an international, way back 2016 yata yon, 2017, when I first learned pandas or first learning pandas. This was the realization, of course, na nakuha ko. Kasi I'm doing the data manipulation in Excel prior to machine learning. So when I found out pandas, I told myself, mas madali. Just like ano yung sinabi ninyo ngayon, ano? Mas madali kasi ganito lang siya, code lang siya. Just a single line of code and then you will be able to do filtering. Diba? 0. Negative 2.8. Okay. So far, so good. Na-absorb ba?
Yes,
For
sir.
some people,
Yes.
this is advanced topic. For some people, this is advanced topic. But as much as possible, I'm making it absorbable to everyone. Can you absorb it? Na-absorb ba?
Yes, sir.
Press 3 kung na-absorb ng iba. Baka hindi nagmamic. Gusto kong nagkaroon lang ng short feedback. Okay, I'm happy na na-absorb ninyo to. Congratulations din sa inyo kasi for some other people, this is very hard to understand. Pero I'm making a point na maintindihan nyo siya. Kaya ako nagbibigay ng mga Excel examples. Bakit natin to ginagawa, di ba? Kasi yun yung reason. This is data manipulation. This is pandas. Okay? Buzzword na lang siya ngayon ng mga data scientist, pero ang other meaning ng pandas, pag sinabing pandas, is data manipulation. That's the prerequisite na kailangan ninyong ma-practice ng ma-practice pagdating sa Python. All right, so ngayon, this one on the next cell, select, parang SQL query siya na select city, temperature from cities where temperature is less than 0. So now, orthogonal yung topic natin, ano? What does it mean when I say orthogonal? Meron siyang pagkaka-sequence or magagamit mo yung previous learning mo dito sa next learning na gagawin natin. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng orthogonal. So, kanina, inaral natin yung selecting ng columns. Now, we are combining the selecting of columns to our conditions. Okay, as you can see there, we get the name of the data frame. We select two columns in our data frame, CT or temperature, with the condition. So you don't need to, again, write their CTs. You don't need to do that again because CTs is already here. Nandiyan na yung CTs sa left side. Okay? So baka nawiweirdohan kayo. Ba't ganun na yung code? Ba't ganyan na? It's already written here. Don't worry. You don't need to put CTs on the left side. Kasi maybe dito, nakita ninyo yung CTs nakalagay dyan sa left side. Kaya iniisip ninyo baka dapat may CTs pa rito sa gitna. Okay? Hindi na. No need to put CTs there on the middle of the two structures because this is how your compiler reads it. Your compiler reads it as CTs, the data frame that the compiler will be accessing. And then next is the open and close bracket, which determines what columns we're going to look at, which are CTs and temperature. Next bracket is the second bracket of the selection. And then another bracket. And this bracket is telling the compiler the conditions of the two columns. So the two columns will be getting a temperature of 0. But the question is, can you place a column here that is not on the select statement? Okay, so that's a good question, right? So let us create a cell and let's observe. If I'm going to use longitude here, will it longitude? Will it run? Yes, it ran. But in SQL, that's a major, I think maybe, probably. No, that is also going to run in SQL. So meaning, it does not limit us to use any other columns in our condition. You can use any other condition and then at the same time get a different column if you want. That's the flexibility of the selection and the combination of condition. Is that clear to everybody? You're not limited to what you are selecting, meaning you can use any columns here on your condition, any columns you want, just like in this example. Let me just have a comment on this one. You can use any column in the condition, even if the column is not present on the selection. Because logically speaking, there are some information that you don't want to look at, but you wanted to be on the condition. May ganun scenario, may ganun use case kasi.
Question, sir.
Sige.
Yung ni-return yung value sa Hindi kasama kasi yung longitude, sir. Tama.
Yes. Yes. Di
Okay.
kasama yung longitude.
Tama natin. Teka. Thank you, sir.
So what I'm telling there is that there is a use case kasi na you just wanted, let's say, sabihin natin, customers to, no? You just wanted to get the name of the customers. Okay, in this case, you just wanted to know the city, something like this. But you wanted to control the filter in the condition. So therefore, you don't need to use or show the columns of longitude even if you are filtering longitude. Hindi mo kailangan ipakita or iselect yung longitude kasi ginagamit mo siya sa condition mo or sa filter mo. Okay? Kasi may mga use case na ganito. You just wanted to show the city of those with longitude that are -0. But there is also a use case that you also want to look at the values of each city's longitude. So you go and select longitude. Okay? So pwede din to. And if you are going to ask me, pwede rin ba to sa Excel? Of course, pwede rin yan gawin sa Excel. There's no difference. We just implemented it in Python. Tsaka ang natututunan natin kasi dito is we are enhancing more our analytical skills. Yun yung values ng pag-aaral ng programming na compare sa Excel lang. Yung Excel, you're going to master with the platform. Dito, you're going to master analytical thinking sa programming. Yun yung pagkakaiba ng tools na ginagamit natin. Ang benefits ng paggamit ng Python is na-enhance pa yung yung analytical skills mo, tapos nagkakaroon ka ng knowledge sa programming language na Python. Paano kapag let's say on your work, biglang na-upgrade ka sa position na ops. Pag sinabi kasing ops, nagde-develop ka na, kaya ops ang tawag. So if you're going to develop something, or if you're going to be mixed with a developer, you can easily read their code. Madali mong mabasa yung code nila. So magiging kang reliable doon sa development process. Eventually, pag mas marami ka ng immersion with the developers kasi nababasa mo yung code nila, baka maging programmer ka na din, and that's going to sprout a new opportunity. Okay, if you're going to ask me, ano yung mga kaya kong gawin sa field ng data science, I can do programming. Ako mismo, kaya kong mag-program, kaya kong mag-data analysis, kaya kong mag-create ng machine learning program. Ano yung ginamit ko? Python. So this is going to benefit to you in the near future. Just absorb the first initial steps, the fundamentals, and then later on, you will be able to take a hold of it and be experts in the field of data science. It's such that I've been doing this since 2017. 2017 ako beginner ng Python programming language. And to 2023 na. 2023 na ngayon, So, yeah. Minsan nga, pagka tinatamad ako mag-code, I use AI tools. Tapos, I just read the code and then Para kung merong programmer, para kung may junior programmer if I'm going to use AI tools. Tapos ako yung senior programmer. Tapos tinitingnan ko na lang yung code. If it is good and at least I did not type the code and spend typing. Spend a lot of time typing. Yeah. So here also on the next part. Okay, so probably before we go to that part, the slicing part, let's try to combine all of those things that we've learned earlier. Combine natin silang lahat. No? So what are the prerequisites that we need to combine? Let me just place more cells so our eyes will easily see the separation. Okay, I'm going to implement head. Okay, select column, also filter or condition, whichever you want to call it, filter or condition. Me, I I am accustomed to call this one condition because of the SQL background that I have. Ano pa? And then sort. Okay? So let's combine this three. So I want to start with cities because that's the name of the data frame, and then select city, latitude, latitude, city latitude. Let me just run this one. Okay. This is what I have suspected. Okay. So that's what I want to select, and an addition, also temperature. So I got the first one, and then so let me rearrange this one. After getting, I selected the column, and then I wanted to filter. So for the filter, I want to filter cities dot, anong gusto kong i-filter? Temperature na lang din. Temperature. Greater than 0.20 and cities and cities. Temperature. Uh, 1. Alright. Okay. May ganito na pala siya pagka kailangan mo ng doble. and so that's the and now we're going to sort that sort values uh, city sending to or false now. Sending false. So let's run. Wala. Wala pala. No. Or pag or ba ganito? Okay. Or or yun ano. Yung or kasi parang it will make this one in between. So instead of using and kasi and meaning kasi ng and is the temperature should be both negative both 0.20 and less than 1. So hindi pwede yun. So therefore, we're going to use or. So for your logical operators, for logical operators, this are and ampersand, ano tawag dito? Means and. Okay, if you're engineering, makaka-relate ka dito, electrical engineering. Or isang linya lang na ganun. Or and yeah, so and or. So this is for multiple condition requirements. So usually ang ginagamitan ng and is different columns. You have multiple conditions with different columns. Yung ginagamitan naman ng or is with the same column, which is in between. Let's say this one. The same column siya, di ba? Temperature. So we use or because it's on the same column, temperature. Ayan. Pag ginamit naman natin yung and, ang idea ng and is that magkaiba yung columns niya. Let's say, cities dot temperature. Okay, sige, gawin na lang natin para meron tayong example. So this one is and so kunyari ito naman ay latitude, tapos ito ay temperature. Ganyan. So ang gagamitin na natin dyan, end ang gagamitin natin dyan. So if we're going to run this, okay, so we still get the data. Okay, because yung end, let's have a note here. Usually, we use and or if the columns in our filter are different. Yun yung hint. Yan na yung hint, no? Tip na yan, tip. Meron na kayong tip in front of your in the top of your head, may hint na kayo. Now usually I'm just going to copy this one. Usually we use or if the column in our filter in the columns in our filter are the same or is the same or the same. Is or are? Is ba? Columns in our filter is the same. Okay. Then you can use head. Okay. So that you just get the first 5 rows and you are not going to be overwhelmed with a lot of values. Although it should not be a practice that you put head because you're going to truncate your data, no? You should not always be putting head there if you want to get the totality of your result. Because if you're going to use head, you're truncating the latter part of your result. So that's a warning of using your head, your function head. So let's do time check. It's 4:27. Let's have a short break. We do still have more to go. Okay. But let's have a 15-minute break. Okay, press 4 for a 15-minute break. 15-minute break. Okay. Hmm. We're back. We're back again. Okay. Am I audible again? Yes,
Yes,
narinig.
sir.
Okay. So let's move forward. But before we go on forward, let's count the remaining cells. So we have 1, 2, 3. 3 cells na lang pala, no? 3 cells na lang pala. No? So then possibly pumunta na tayo sa your turn. Okay? All right. So next one. Okay, so we can actually implement this the thing that we did last time in our in ano ba to? In our basic Python. We can slice the data frame instead of an array. Instead of an array, we're going to slice the data frame. So this is called slicing, the method of slicing, when you're going to use columns. No? If you're going to use a column, this is called slicing. So let me demonstrate 15 and 20. So it get the cells or it get the data from the row starting from row 15 up to row 19. Okay, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it did not include the index 20. So this is getting a sample from our data frame, slicing it starting from row 15 to 20. Or should we say if we wanted to get until 100? So if you want to get a random sample, if you want to get a random sample or a chunk from your data, so 15, 100. So there are other examples like what if, what if we want to get this part? So what will happen? It starts with 0 index until the uh, row 7, whereas we stop with the row 8. We stop with row 8. Okay? And then how about this one? So we started with row 200 until the end of the instance. So we also call this we also call the rows as instance. So at the last part of the row or instance. So if you don't put any value on the second argument of the bracket, you get the last part of your data set. So this is called the suffix. We can also say this one is a suffix or the end part, the prefix. The pre, and then this is the sub. Okay. So this is how you get your random sample, but not actually the random sampling of statistics. This is just getting something from the data with a specific row. Okay, so in this one, you are manipulating the row of the data. All right. So again, this is an example of using a temp. So what happens with this one? So you are copying first the condition of the whole data frame that you want and then placing it on the temp or temporary location. Should we say temp 1? And then on the temp 1, we only get 2 columns, which are CT and longitude. And then on temp 3, we sort value. So this is the other way of doing what we did on this one. So whichever you want to follow, this structure or this structure. If I'm going to ask you now, which one would you follow? Structure 1 or structure 2? Hello?
Can I ask a question before we answer?
Sige, please.
So when you do the second structure with the temp 1, temp 2, and temp 3, are you copying whatever you selected, or is it just referencing that portion?
You are actually you're not referencing. It's not referencing. It's more of like transferring it to a temporary location.
Mm.
Whereas this is a method where you don't want to mess with the data frame, with the original data frame. But actually, you're not going to mess the original data frame. It's just a matter of style, whichever you want. In this one, you wanted to place it in a new data frame, so probably uh, you are trying to get another memory for your data because you're using another variable. While on this one, we are not invoking any variable, so we're not generating a memory in our cache. So that's probably the difference. But if you're going to look at it, this is somewhere between you wanted to isolate your result. That's why you get first the condition of your data to place it on a temporary place. Then probably your temporary or your temp one will be on a different branch, should I say, other branches of computation. And then you use temp 1 for the branch of temp 2, and temp 2 is just sorting and then placing the answer to temp 3. So what you are trying to do here is you are isolating the procedures in different temporary location, the answers for the different procedures. Probably yun lang yung benefit nito. If gusto mong balikan yung answer sa second step, nasa temp 2 siya. Nakuha ba yun? Pag gusto mong balikan yung nangyari dito, parang may backward tracing ka lang. In-isolate mo yung mga nangyayari. So, dito, sa temp 1, sa temp 2, nag-carry over na dito yung condition ng cities. While dito sa pangalawang structure, isa lang yung sinasagot nito. So, bale ang mangyayari, kung gusto mong gawin na isa-isa siya, magbubura-bura ka. Buburahin mo yung mga codes. While in this style, hindi ka magbubura dito. I-access mo lang yung result per temp. Parang ganun yung use case niya. Kung gusto mong gawin to, ma-access mo yung mga temporary answers. Yung mga answers niya per each line. So, kung ngari, ipiprint mo yung mga answers along the way, ipiprint mo na lang, hindi mo na iraran yung cell. So, you will just place here temp 1, tapos dito, temp 2, tapos dito, temp 3. So, you will get the answer. Ay, hindi ko pa pala na-run. So, i-run ko muna. Okay, so temp 1. So, this is what happens on selecting in the condition of temp 1. This is what happens. Then, temp 2. Ito na yung nangyari. And then, temp 3. Ito na siya. So, yung temp 3 is sorted na siya. So, what if yung temp 3 gusto mong mag-head dito? Yeah. So, ganyan. Either way, wala naman siyang ano. Pero para sa akin, ako, if you're going to ask me, ito yung favorable kong structure. Kasi Straightforward siya. At ito yung usual na makikita ninyo sa mga sa mga tag dito, examples. May makikita kayong ganitong examples ng pagpo-program, may makikita rin kayong ganitong sample ng pagpo-program. So, whichever yung makita ninyo, dapat flexible kayo to understand the meaning of the syntax. Yun lang naman yung essence nito. So, either way, one or two, dapat parehas kaya mo pa rin siyang basahin at maintindihan. Kasi ang magiging point neto sa future is you might be looking at two styles from a different person, and what you should do is you could still read the programming style of that person and the programming style of that person. Parang both kaya mong basahin. Okay? All
Yes.
right, so this is, again,
I was just saying thank you. Very clear.
okay. Sure, no problem. Anong error nito? It doesn't want to have a comment. Kung walang comment, okay. And ito din, yung mga problema minsan indentions. So, okay, may space daw. May space din siguro to. Kaya, oops. Ayan. So, ginagawa ko lang ganyan para madali ko lang siyang makita sa mata ko. Pero kung gusto ninyo siyang gawin na straight, okay lang naman din. Minsan kasi may makikita kayong ganitong coder, ganyan siya mag-code. Straight line. Sa kanya, okay lang yan. But for me, possibly, it will not make me easy to read the code. So, rather doing that, I prefer this one, this style. Ganyan. Pag ganyan naman, ang tingin ko dyan is parang ang hirap niya parang intindihin. For me, kung beginner ako, anong nangyayari dyan? So, kahit na may ganyan siya, yung slash, okay, tapos pantay-pantay siya, parang hirap pa rin ako siyang basahin. So, what I do, I use white spaces. Okay. So, to activate this style, kailangan meron kang backslash. Okay. Backslash nga. Okay. Backslash. So now it's your turn. Okay. It's your turn. So we need to open the countries. So let's open the countries. Then find all the countries that are not in EU. EU means European Union and don't have coastline together with their populations. So meaning I want to see there the information of the countries column, the country column, tapos yung population. gusto ko rin makita. But their population is sorted from smallest to largest, meaning ascending order. Okay, so you know the drill. This is your turn to answer the programming procedure now. If you're done with your answer, you can post your answer on the chat box. Post the screenshot of your answer. Marlon, country population EU coastline. Countries equal to EU and countries without the coastline. Okay, got that. And then sort the values population ascending to true. Correct. Correct. So correct, Marlon Tricia. Okay. So that's the answer. That's your answer. I suggest you also include comments for each line of your code so that that will serve as your reviewer also for next time.
Well, sir, I tried pero nag-error siya, sir, pag inline siya with the codes, like after the backslash.
Yeah. There will be errors. So I think
Pwede siguro siya sa unahan, sir, no? Nung, bago yung mag-start yung code.
I think ang gagawin mo sa kanya, copyhin mo lang yung code. Tapos buong yun na lang yung gawin mong comment.
Okay, sir.
Yun na lang siguro. So yeah, that is just my my suggestion so that next time you would have your reviewer will be your reviewer. Pero you don't need to do that. Just practice doing it. So that will also enhance your programming, your analytical skills in this programming language. Yeah. Correct, Marlon Trisha. Okay. Pwede pang humabol yung iba. No? Habang humahabol yung iba, ini-edit ko muna itong mga codes dito kasi kailangan siyang ma-update. Oh, nag-mute yata ako doon. Sorry. So, here in aggregation, no, in this in aggregation, ang nangyayari dito is that we 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 will use functions here called minimum, maximum, sum. Okay, we can also use len. All right, so what happens here if we place cities dot temperature, we are calling the values inside the column temperature, and then getting the minimum value. Also, what we did here is we are calling this the column values of the temperature, and now when we place that inside the argument of max, we are also selecting the maximum value of the temperature. So let's play the cell to get the value. All right. So now we can do uh, sum over count, no? And then we can use numpy also. So this is the introduction of numpy. This is a number manipulating library also in Python, so called numbers Python or numpy. So this is a short term for numbers in Python. So we can also call the average function inside the numpy library. So we get there, we can use it as np.average, and what we get there is the average temperature of a city. So let's print, okay. And then we can also use the built-in average function or mean function of pandas that mean. So maraming ways to do the aggregation, right? Especially in average. So in average, we can use numpy, and we can use the built-in function mean. And then we can also perform a crude operation. Okay, crude operation. So we introduce the function sum and len to emulate the average computation. So kaya pare-pareha siya ng value 9.49, 9.49, 9.49 because we are just showing that we can do different types of computation in Python. It's up to you what you want to implement. What is comfortable in your end. Then we also have a group by. Okay, so the average temperature of cities in each country, group by country. So what does it do when we play this one? Sorry, we start to look at the, let me use temp 5. Okay. Then temp 5. So we want to look for, we want to look first for temp 5. Temp 5 is, Hindi niya pinapakita yung data, no? So, grinop niya lang, pero hindi niya pinakita yung data. So, anyway, what if I use print? Okay, now I know. Okay. That head. So it's grouped by country. Okay, so that's how it looks like. Pero dapat pala, dapat ilalagay natin siya dito, yung mean. So pag nilagay natin yung mean, okay, i-mean natin dito. So what happened there is you just get all of the heads. You get the head and then compute the mean for each column. That's why it's 49, 15. So if we don't do that, or we print head first, temp 5.head. Okay, so we get only that values, or we only get those values. Hindi gumana yung head. Temp 5.head. Iba siya eh, kapag wala yung head. Iba yung meaning. Iba yung mean. Madami na lalabas, no? Tapos, per country na din siya. Albania. Pagka nilagay natin yung head, that mean, you don't get the countries, the information of the countries. That's weird stuff, but yeah, you get the point. Then temperature. Only the column of temperature will be shown. So it's 8. Okay, so it's up to us if we wanted to do this or to do this. Temperature 8. Yeah, all right. Okay, so next one is find the average population of countries with coastline and countries without coastline. So here, we're going to use the countries data set. Okay, so we're going to use the countries data set, hindi na yung cities. But what we're going to do is to get the average population of countries with coastline and the average of population of the countries without coastline. You can use group by. Tapos assignment na tong your turn. Assignment nyo na yan. Hindi na natin yan gagawin today. Yung World Cup data is an assignment. So hanggang dito lang tayo sa reminders. Okay, paunahan tayo ulit. Ito. So in Excel, we wanted to know, gawin natin sa Excel. Habang ina-answer ninyo sa Python, gagawin ko siya sa Excel. So, clear longitude. Population countries with coastline. So, kukunin ko lang yung, pala yung naka-open sa akin. So, dapat dalawa siya, no? Kasi meron dito isa, yung sagot dito, ito yung sagot dito sa isa. So, basically, dalawa to dapat. So, yung isa, coastline without coastline. And then yung isa, papakita mo din yung EU. EU, tapos yung average na meron siyang coastline. Ay, pag meron siyang pagkasama siya sa EU, ano yung, kung meron siyang coastline, ano yung average nun? Oo, dapat ganun. So, apat. Okay, so merong no, may yes na part ng EU, tapos they are having no coastlines, and then yes. Okay. So, dalawa siya. Okay, so tig-dalawa siya, no? Si Marlon, isa pa lang yung nagagawa. Asan yung isa mo, Marlon? So, Alex. Dalawa yun kay Alex. Alright. Alright. Good, good. So, pag sa Excel yan, fi-filterin mo muna lahat nung merong coastline, tapos kukunin mo yung average nun. Then, i-filter mo din yung yung coastline na wala, tapos kukunin mo yung average population. Pero weird sa akin, yung computation sa akin, kulang. I don't know why, but kulang siya. Anyway. Pwede rin kasi yung problem na to, pwede rin gawin sa Excel. If you are wondering kung kaya rin ba ng Excel yan, yes, kaya naman ni Excel yan. Okay, naghang siya. Naghang yung Excel ko. Okay. Yung answers, by the way, dun sa mga walang answers pa, yung answers niyan will be shared later dito sa Leons, sa Leons natin. Andito yung answers niyan, ito. Ito yung answer niyan, answer key sa mga your turn. So nandiyan nakalagay yung answer key ng your turn for session 2. That will be available after the session. Okay? Next is joining. So basically you are going to merge countries and cities. So sa SQL, this is like inner join. Because the country, ano ang similarities muna nilang dalawa? Dapat alam natin yung similarities. Yung cities, let me look at the cities table. Yung cities, meron siyang country. Alright. Tapos, yung cities naman, ay yung countries naman, meron din siyang country. So in that sense, they can be merged. You cannot merge two datas, or probably you can merge them, but the meaning of merge here is joining two tables. All right. However, there will be a problem if they are not the same length of data. If they don't have the same length of data, you need to produce something that they are having a common feature or column, such as the country column. Therefore, you can seamlessly join them, something like this. So you have now a bigger table version. On this bigger table version, you can do more exploration. You can do more exploration. So what is the essence of doing merge in data analysis, data science? Your data is coming from different sources. It's coming from different tables. So when you're going to perform exploratory data analysis, you need to combine them into one big table or one table only. Okay, in this case, we combine two tables whereas they are cities and countries. Now they became one. Now our table transformed. So this is transformation of our table. And now they now have more than 4 columns. We have cities, we have countries, we have latitude, longitude, temperature, population, EU coastline at the same time. Okay, a little theory. Why is it not like, why is it that our data is separate on the data warehouse? And then when we are going to analyze the data, we need to combine everything. Okay, so the reason behind that is that we don't want to have a data redundancy. So in order for us to not to have a data redundancy, we need to separate our whole database in different parts of tables. So that is a best practice for developers. So we cannot change that because that's the best practices of a developer. Usually, the person who developed the system tries to have a different table for the city and a different table for the countries. However, if we're going to do data analysis or exploratory data analysis, we need to make them as one table only. Therefore, we need to perform a merge. We need to perform a merge. In your industry scenario, usually you have different tables and you will merge them into one before you embark data analysis or exploratory data analysis. Okay. Now, we combined those two tables. So we have a big chunk of a table here. And then we don't have any problem because although, take note, although the table cities has more records than the countries table, the countries table, look at it, it's just how many? 42 instances. The reason they got merged because they have the same column and the same data on that column. Okay, that's the reason they merge properly. So cities that merge countries own country. It will have an error if in any case they don't have the same column. So joining is symmetric. Okay. So there are miscellaneous features. We are now nearing to the end of our session. So we are now discussing some miscellaneous features. Okay, so this miscellaneous features is that we can perform a search. This is a search operation. In the country's data frame, whereas inside the country data frame, we have a country table where we are searching for a string value which contains an element of I and A. So therefore, it will only give us all of the data which has IA in it, regardless if it is in the middle or the latter part. Okay. And then for plotting, so we can easily plot the data using something like this, plot that scatter. That will be the topic for the next session. So for the next session, we will be focusing on the plotting of the data. So of course, the prerequisite of plotting is pandas or data manipulation. So next meeting, that will be our topic. Cities, plot, scatter. So here, we have a data frame cities, and then we're going to plot what are we going to plot in the cities data frame. We're going to use scatter plot, and then what are the columns that will be presented on the x-axis and on the y-axis. So we chose here latitude and temperature. What is the sense of using latitude and temperature? We have a theory that if a certain geolocation having higher latitude, it's supposed to be uh, cooler on that end. Okay. Now, if the geolocation is lower or in the plains area or Kapatagan, it might be not as cold as somewhere in the mountains. Okay? So that's the reason why we uh, we relate the latitude with regards to temperature, because we know that we have a theory. If you are in a higher ground, there might be a much cooler temperature there. Example, Baguio City. Baguio City has a different temperature compared to Bataan, for the reason that uh, Baguio City is a much more higher place than Bataan. Okay, what else we can do? We can add a column. So in order for us to add a column, we're just going to create a column something like this. So in cities, you're going to have a single bracket, and having a single bracket indicates you're going to add a new column, and then what are the values inside that bracket. So what you will be sending there as values are the city's temperature series values multiplied by 9/5, or the formula of the Fahrenheit computation, or the formula to get the Fahrenheit. Therefore, you add the column Fahrenheit. Okay. So that's how easy it is to add a column. What else you want to add a column? Hmm, Kunyari ano, temp2, temperature_2. Wala lang. Cities temperature 2 equals cities dot temperature let me just have Pwede tayong gumamit ng ganito. Hot. Okay. So if CT's temperature is greater than 35 or 40, therefore it's hot, else greater than 40 is cold. Let me just look at this one. If this will work. No. Okay. Kala ko mawawala. It's ambiguous. Ay gagamitan ng lambda. Anyway. Lambda. Lambda, because lambda is a parang kasi ang lambda, it's different from a function. Lambda is a function without a name. So we apply lambda and therefore we get hot or cold. So nanggaling siya sa ganitong style ng coding. Syntactic sugar kasi yan ni so okay, so pwede natin siyang gawing function na ganito. Hot or cold. Ayan, something like that. Tapos pag in-apply natin siya, hot or cold, 40, kunyari ganon. So sasabihin niya cold. So dito, pwede natin i-apply yung lambda na function na to. Try natin kung pwede yung function na hot or cold. Okay. Ayan. Pwede pa rin naman pala. So, yun. So that is miscellaneous style. Meaning, naglagay tayo dito ng another column, but what we did there is we implemented something like a, parang kasi ganito yan eh. We transform temperature pagka 7 below 40 siya, sasabihin na lang natin na cold. So meron tayong equivalent na categorical data sa temperature ng numerical which is continuous. So yan, meron tayong bagong na transform na data out from our original data. Yan, so pwede tayong gumamit na ganyan. So reminders, only last result shown. Pagka doble-doble yung nilagay natin, if we have one and another one the following, what will happen is that we're not going to be presented by the values of the second query, but only the next query. So kaya dapat isa-isang cell, isa-isang query. Something like this also. So your assignment is this one, your turn, World Cup data. So this will be presented next meeting. So each one of you will be asked what is the answer for each given cell. So ilan kaya dito? 8. Magbibigay pa ako ng iba pang questions. Okay. So itong bonus. Yan. But you need to submit this, submit answers for this one. Okay, kailangan nyo itong isubmit. Any questions, by the way? Do you have any questions, clarifications before we end our session?
Question, sir.
Again, sorry.
Question po.
Yes.
Aside, alam ko sir, parang na-mention yun, ito yung most common na parang package to use para sa data wrangling, yung pandas.
Okay.
May iba pa ba sir na available aside from pandas?
Marami pa. Meron pa Spark.
Okay.
Yung Python Spark, tsaka Polars. Ang ano naman nun is distributed computing ng big data na. So, pag mag-ano pa kayo, pagka kunyari, nag-aaral pa kayo ng further, yung talagang mag-handle na kayo ng terabytes of data, PythonPandas is not enough to streamline a data. So, kailangan talaga partitioning. For example, kasi kaya naman ni Python yung terabytes of data, although mabagal siya. I mean, magre-result siya ng ilang minutes bago mo makuha yung result. So, ang ginagawa ng iba, nagba-batch processing using Spark, kaya Polars. Polars yung parang pag malaki na yung data talaga na hinahandle mo. Umaabot na siya ng terabytes of data. Millions na yung nakikita mo dito na indices, umaabot na ng millions.
Okay, sir.
So, doon lang naman mag-upgrade yun. Pero, it's orthogonal. Meaning, your knowledge here in Pandas will be helpful to understand those new horizons.
Okay, sir. That's good to know. Thank you.
Parang magkakamag-anak lang siya ng coding structure. So,
okay, sir.
Dadagdagan lang siya ng konti.
Thank you,
Parang
sir.
ano lang yan, parang Optimus Prime.
Mhm.
Ngayon, yung inaaral natin, yung basic Optimus Prime, parang gano'n. Tapos add-ons na lang yung iba. So, nalalagyan na lang siya ng booster rocket, parang gano'n. Kakaroon na lang ng espada si Optimus Prime. Yun na lang yung mga ibang tools na nangyayari dito. Parang additionals na lang. Pero yung fundamental knowledge, pandas talaga. Siya talaga yung pinagmulan ng lahat. Hindi masasayang yung pinag-aralan mo sa pandas. Pagka lumipat ka na sa Spark, tsaka lumipat ka na sa sa Polars. Meron
Okay,
pang ang
sir.
Pandas AI eh. Yung Pandas AI yung siya nang bahala talaga lahat. Wala ka nang gagawin. Hindi ka na mag-crude na ganito. Siya na yung bahala. Kaya naman kailangan ng Pandas AI kung gusto mo, kung hindi ka interesado sa exploratory data analysis, pero gusto mo na kagad mag-skip sa predictive analytics, which is machine learning, mag-aano ka, supervised learning, mag-unsupervised learning ka, ganyan. Yun yung Pandas AI. Kasi ang nangyayari usually, we do exploratory data analysis first. Pero kung gusto mong skip yung process na yun, ipa-handle mo na lang sa AI. Pero baka may ma-miss out yung AI na drill down information. Kasi syempre yung AI, may in-automate lang siya. Ang explanation ko kasi sa AI is it started with automation. However, yung automation hindi siya intelligent. For example, si SimSimi, yung chatbot dati, automation lang siya. Hindi pa siya AI. Yung SimSimi, alam niyo ba SimSimi? Alam niyo ba yun? Hindi.
Yeah, no idea, sir.
Yung
Ako
chatbot
naabutan ko yun.
kung naabutan yung si SimSimi, chatbot lang siya, hindi siya AI. Parang ano lang siya, sumasagot lang siya ng tinatanong mo. Kunyari, kamusta ka na? Sasabihin niya sa'yo, okay lang. Medyo, medyo tama naman yung sagot niya sa'yo. Pero pag sinabi mo sa kanya na kay SimSimi, sige nga, create a paragraph or create a literature review of this one, hindi niya kayang gawin yun. Kasi ang makakagawa lang ng tao. Ang kaya lang gawin ni SimSimi, mag-reply sa'yo kung ano yung tinatanong mo sa kanya. Hindi niya kayang gumawa ng isang productivity task. Ngayon, AI, yung ChatGPT, yun yung AI. Kasi yung ChatGPT, pag sinabi mo sa kanya, okay, create a program in Pandas, kaya niyang gawin. Hindi lang siya magre-reply sa'yo. Kaya niya rin gumawa nung kayang gawin ng tao, ng human. So, doon na siya naging AI. So, it encompasses just encompasses the action of just merely replying to you, but also doing something for you. Kaya na siya naging AI. So, kunyari, alin tulad ko naman yung chess. Yung chess, pag napamove mo yan ng automatic without you moving the chess pieces, that's automation. Pero yung matalo niya yung kalaban, that's AI already. So yun yung differences ng dalawa. So, yung ginagawa natin dito ngayon sa Python Pandas, it's automation. Hindi pa siya AI. Ngayon, pag nilagyan natin siya ng Pandas AI, it will do the intelligent automation from what you are doing right now. So, ito, hindi mo na to kailangan intindihin yung mga yan. Itatanong mo na lang sa kanya, I want to transform temperature to cold instead of numbers. I don't want to see numbers. So, ang gagawin ni Pandas AI, i-AI niya yan. Gagawin niya tong ginawa nating coding. yung coding natin nagkaroon ng cold. Ito. Ayan. So, Pandas ilan. So, yun yung mga upgraded versions nito. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Any
Yes, sir.
other?
Thank you, sir. Meron pa ako sa question isa. Sorry.
Ay, sir, quick lang. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng RU? Doon sa code, sir. Yung may
Ha?
RU ko
Ano yun?
nakita.
Mahina yung boses?
Yung RU? Ano yung ibig sabihin ng RU? I'm sorry.
Dito sa umpisa?
Ano yung ibig sabihin nun, sir?
This is just an old way of doing it eh. Pero pwede natin itong tanggalin. I'm not sure anymore with this one. Ilo-look up ko ulit kung anong ibig sabihin ito. Nakalimutan ko nun. This is an old, pero pag tinanggal natin yan, pwede pa rin naman. Parang it's specifying a file type. Pwede ngang actually, but kasi old code yung pinakita ko sa inyo. Ito din, nagkaroon pa ng, ito pwede rin ganito, no? So, I'm going to create a new version of the code. Pwedeng rekta na siya. So, cities equals pd dot read underscore csv. Tapos, yung mismong file type na nakalagay dito, cities.csv. Ayan. Pwedeng ganito din siya. Style. Ito yung old way of doing things kasi dati masyadong crude si Pandas. So yung level 2 version niya, kahit ganito na lang.
Okay. Alright, sir. Thank you.
It's just a flag. So it's just a way of specifying things before that this is a CSV. Parang ganun, something like that. Ngayon kasi intelligent na yung code natin. So kahit hindi mo na ilagay yung RU. Kasi pagka hindi mo nilagay yung yung RU, okay, so according dito sa sinearch ko, RU mode has been deprecated and no longer needed. So instead, you can use R to open a file for reading. Okay. Which automatically handles different new lines. Therefore, in modern Python, you can simply use F equals R. So this has relationship with this function open. Okay. Nangyayari yung mga ganito kasi nangyayari yung mga ganyang scenario sa Python because dati yung Python version 2 point something lang siya. Ngayon version 3 point something na siya. So may mga code siya na unti-unti niyang dinideprecate. Ibig sabihin unti-unti niyang tinatanggal. Kasi hinihintay niya munang masanay yung mga programmers dun sa bago niyang code which is 3.0 version bago niya i-deprecate. So, i-deprecate niya to soon, mag-error na to yung ganitong convention. Hindi na siya i-update ng Python. So, ito lang yung old way of doing things. If you want, you can stick with the new way of doing it. Ganito. Tapos, okay din siya. Same as what is happening here. Kasi ang nangyari ditong steps dalawa. You open first a file and then the file is for reading and then you will convert that into a data frame and you have to read the file as CSV. Parang yun lang yung ibig sabihin niya dyan. College days daw. Ano yung college days? So how do we submit the assignment? For the assignment, soon there will be some way of you're going to have a link where you will upload there. Siguro by next meeting, ma-activate yung magkakaroon doon ng isang module tapos malalagay doon yung link ng Google Drive para isend nyo lang doon yung hindi. Gagawa na lang ako ng Google Forms para isend ninyo yung link ng mga notebooks ninyo. So we call this one, yung pinoprograma natin, notebooks. So in history before, kasi ang ginagamit ng mga tao is Jupyter Anaconda. Yung Jupyter Anaconda, local computer mo lang siya. Ang hirap niyang i-share. Buti na lang lumabas si Google Colab. Siya naman yung notebook ng Google. So kaya ginagamit na natin ngayon is notebook from Google Colab. So notebook pa din siya. Okay, so any other questions?
Ako sir, may question pa. Marlon here.
Sige.
Aside sa CSV sir, may iba pa siyang pwedeng i-read or kayang i-read?
Pwede siyang mag-read ng JSON, pwede siyang mag-read ng Excel. Yung PDF, hindi niya mariread na ganito. Marami ka pang gagawin na mga bagay-bagay para maging siyang data frame.
Okay,
So,
XML kaya
kung
niya sir?
meron kang JSON file, pwede yun.
Okay, XML sir kaya rin niya?
XML, yeah. JSON, XML.
Okay. And kaya rin niya sir, connect sa database? Like, kung halimbawa meron kaming
kaya
SQL.
niyang connect sa database.
Okay.
Advanced na yun, by the way, no? So, gusto niyo ba itakal ko yung pag-connect sa database?
Sana sir, kasi most of the time sir, SQL gamit namin sa work. So, ayun.
Pakita ko na lang yan siguro sa susunod na meeting kung paano i-connect.
Okay, thank you sir.
Pero hindi siya magiging part ng class. Ipapakita ko lang demonstration. Pero pwede siya. Pwede. Pwede siya yung connect dun sa ano. Kasi ang mangyayari dito, actually, ang pipeline ng mangyayari, gagawin mo lang naman siyang connect sa SQL kung gusto mo yung pipeline ng data mo is real time. 'Di ba? Gagawin mo 'yan because you wanted to make a parang connection to your SQL so that your data is getting in real time. Pagka hindi naman real time, ang gagawin mo, mag-query ka muna. All of your data manipulation will be coming from SQL, and then later on, ililipat mo na siya dito sa as CSV file. Ganun yung maraming ways para mangyari. Kasi dati nung panahon na wala pang data manipulation or hindi pa rich yung codes for data manipulation, unlike now, kasi nag-start to 2017. Of course, nung panahon namin noong 2017, nagre-rely pa kami lahat sa SQL or for cleaning our data, for merging our data, and all of those stuff. Ganun na nangyayari sa amin. So, ngayon, marami na talagang ways. Actually, pwede ka pa nga mag-SQL dito sa data frame. Kasi kunyari, ang idea lang nun, bakit ka mag-SQL sa data frame? Kasi, sanay ka sa SQL, may mga functions ka na hindi ma-provide nung pandas. Yung may mga stored procedure ka na gustong tawagin. Kaya gusto mo mag-SQL dito sa pandas, pwede 'yon. No, pwede 'yon. It's a very advanced topic na 'yon. Yung advanced topic na 'yon is specialization na. Is specialization with regards to parang magiging data engineering na yung style nung matitainted na siya ng data engineering. Kasi ang focus lang naman ng data scientist is to do 4 kinds of analytics. Data descriptive analytics, predictive analytics. Okay? Kung isa-segment ko siya lahat, ang data scientist predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, tsaka prescriptive. Okay? Dalawang P yun, prescriptive or predictive. Yun yung totoong work lang ng data scientist. Pag sinabi mo na nako-connect tayo sa sa SQL, yun na yung magkakaroon ka na ng part ng data engineer. Although sa work, nag-overlap to kasi syempre, alangan naman yan lang yung gawin mo, di ba? Syempre, yung gagawin ng company, susulitin ka talaga. Babayaran ka ng let's say sabihin natin, ang salary mo 120,000 pesos. Of course, pati yun sasakupin na ng ng job description mo. So nangyayari tuloy ang mga data scientist, yung iba kailangan mag-upskill when it comes to connecting with SQL. Kasi para hindi na hindi na magkaroon ng isa pang data engineer. Ikaw na rin yung data engineer. Ano ka na, half-half ka na. Tapos eventually yung company mo pala, puro problema regarding sa data engineering tasks. Ang nangyari tuloy, naging ka ng data engineer. So, yun yung mga reason kung bakit biglang yung mga data scientist naging data engineer or na immerse sila sa mga problems or case studies na data engineer oriented. Nandun na sa warehouse na kailangan connect sa warehouse. And so, kailangan i-prepare yung data. Walang analysis doon. Kailangan lang i-curate, i-prepare yung data for analysis. So, yung data engineering na yun, yun na yung nagiging trabaho niya sa susunod niyang company. Yun yung hindi alam ng industry na problema pala nila data engineering tasks. Tapos data science tasks. Ang ginagawa ng kadalasan ng ibang companies, nagpo-post ng job description for data science. Example to sa isang company na connected ako. Ang job description ko doon is data analyst. Pero yung boss ko, nag-aano siya bibigay siya sa akin ng mga new use cases. And I only to find out, nag-overlap na siya sa pagiging data analyst. Pwede ko bang sabihin sa kanya na, uy, hindi ko trabaho yan. Diba? Pwede ko ba sabihin sa kanila na, uy, hindi ko trabaho yan. Boss, hindi ko trabaho yan. Maghanap ka ng iba. Siyempre, ang magiging approach ko is solution-oriented. Okay, I'll be looking to that. I will explore that part. And eventually, nag-iiba na yung mo. Ang nangyayari, yung employee ang nagmamap sa problema ng company. Well, this problem will be enlightened in the near future. Darating ang panahon na magkakaroon talaga ng segregation at marami pang sub parts ang data science. So, magiging nga talaga siyang course in the end of the day. Bigyan pa natin ng isa pang dekada. Kasi ngayon, ang problema ng mga company is hindi pa nila alam kung ano yung tamang term dun sa problema nila. Part ba yan ng mga data engineer? Part ba yan ng mga data scientist? Part ba yan ng mga data analyst? Right? So, ganun. Lahat tayo ngayon nasa isang bubble. Tapos, dadamihan mo yung kamay mo ngayon para sa mga task na yan na iba't iba. Ayan. Pero kung tatanungin mo ako, data science na track, umuikot lang yan sa apat. Predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, diagnostic, tsaka prescriptive. Yan. So, ide-demo ko na lang yan sa susunod, yung part na yan as a miscellaneous a miscellaneous, but not a requirement. Kasi baka yung iba matakot, no? Matakot sila na, hala, ano yun? Magkoconnect daw sa SQL, di natin alam yun. Sobrang technical. I don't want that to happen. Na yung iba ma-alienate natin kasi yun yung level ng understanding natin. Pwede yun, possible yun. But for some others, ito pa lang yung kaya nilang i-grasp. So, yeah. Listen. Any other question? It's already 6:11, by the way. And I know all of you would want to rest now. So, wait nyo lang yung submission link sa Leon for that inquiry sa nagtatanong kung saan magsasubmit. It's a Google form na lang na gagawin ko. Tapos, you will just write your name there and then paste the link and submit. That's your submission. Okay? Thank you very much for attending the session. I apologize. We started a little bit late, but don't worry. It will not happen again. Thank you again to everyone. See you on next Saturday.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
Have
you,
a good
sir.
day, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.